Welcome back, and let's shift our focus to our newsmaker tonight. There was once a buzz that this diplomat can take a political plunge from Darjeeling. However, he didn't eventually. He may be out of the poll fray, but he's definitely not out of the hills from where he belongs. I'm talking about our ex-Foreign Secretary Harsh Shringla, the G20 chief coordinator last year. While he's tight-lipped about his political aspirations, he's also speaking to us on BJP's 400 Par and the POK promise, and how the neighborhood is still India's Achilles heel. I'm being joined by Harsh Shringla live at the moment, so thank you so much for speaking to Mirror Now. My first question to you is, this talk by the BJP on POK, which has become a very important election promise, the BJP is saying that give us 400 seats and we will ensure that we make POK part of India again. Now, as a diplomat, how do you look at this? Is this just political rhetoric that gets forgotten after the elections, or is something really possible?
You see, in my entire career, we have always said that POK is part of India. And today, you are talking about making that a reality. So I don't think it's rhetoric. I think at any given time, POK really should have been, right from 1947-48, a part of India. You have a situation today where clearly people in POK themselves are very unhappy with the fact that their basic needs and necessities are not being met by the government in Islamabad. I think they also see the level of prosperity and development that is brought into the state of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, with the record number of tourists visiting Srinagar and the valley area. I believe 2 crore tourists visited that area last year. So from that perspective, I think it has given a sort of a new insight into what to the people of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and what their brethren on the other side are experiencing and what India is all about. And on the other hand, the failure of the Pakistani state to provide even the basic necessities, really going down to becoming a failed state. So I don't see it as rhetoric. I think it is a time that this, aspiration to merge parts of India that are not within our de facto control can become, that endeavor can become a reality.
But how does this become a reality? Will we have to go to war with Pakistan, sir? Is that the only way?
Well, there are many ways in which you can achieve your outcome, and war is not the only way to do that. As they say, you go to war when all else fails. So it's a question of the aspirations of the people themselves there. This entire issue has come up because of the dissatisfaction that people of POK have expressed. And on the other hand, of course, we are seeing a fairly record participation of the people of Jammu and Kashmir in Lok Sabha elections that are taking place. I think the true image of what democracy can provide and the returns that you can get through a peace dividend is being very apparent to people in POK. And so I think there are many ways that you can attain those objectives. And ultimately, it is the people of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir who want to really ensure that they return to the fold, that a part of India which is not within our de facto control then sort of is saying that, look, we want to be with India. So it is not such a far-fetched theory.
Let's shift our focus, Mr. Shringla, from POK to Maldives. We had the foreign minister of the island nation visit India a few days ago after months of the relationship between the two nations plummeting down. How do you assess the India-Maldives relationship right now, given the political dispensation in Maldives and given what has happened?
Well, Maldives has always been a close neighbor of India's, and I suppose in many senses, the sort of cooperation that we have had with Maldives over the last many years have been one of mutuality of benefit. They have benefited a lot from India's development, India's security, cover and assurances, and the fact that people of Maldives can access India for education, medical facilities, and so on and so forth. So, in a sense that they have benefited from India's, I would say, that relationship they have with us. And at the same time, I think we've always regarded Maldives as a neighbor that has been a close friend. Now, clearly, in democracy, you can have different dispensations, and not all of them have the same ideological frame of mind. You have one party that professes very strong relationship. You'll have the other party who will take a different line. So ultimately, the realities of the situation actually, I would say, bring to the fore what the real relationship should be. Once you understand that India is a country that has good intentions towards the Maldives, that is a country that has always helped the people of Maldives, a country that is, as we speak, undertaking some very major development projects in that country, and one that has actually been quite generous with lending funds to Maldives when they've been under difficult circumstances. When those realities hit home, and I think the foreign minister, when he came, also made a request that a $50 million standby credit facility should be extended for another 6 months, and India agreed. So in a certain sense, I think we are getting to a state where we can actually start working with that new government, and they also realize that India is a country that is really a good relationship with India is in their best interests.
And a good relationship with Maldives, sir, is also in India's best interest, because the last thing you want to do is push them into the arms of China. Now, my honest question is, when the 3 MPs of Maldives made derogatory remarks against India's Prime Minister, should it have been handled with a bit more nuance given the strategic importance which is at stake? Did Indian government and the Indian media react a bit, overreact a bit?
Well, if you look at it in perspective, Prime Minister Modi's policy has always been one that has reached out to our neighbors. When we talk about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, we include our neighborhood in that endeavor, because we have always been generous with our neighborhood in terms of not only development assistance, but also in meeting their basic requirements, including during COVID times when we shared vaccines with Maldives, with all of our neighbors. Now, if you also look at it in perspective, that Maldives is not a large country. It's a country of, between 4 and 5 lakh people. It's a small country. Population is very small. So everything should be seen in that context. It is not a country where just because a few people made a few comments, it means it reflects the majority opinion in that country. I think the people of Maldives have genuine goodwill for India. And I think we need to have a longer term perspective when we look at Maldives. And certainly the media, of course, it is the task of media to cover what is being, what is current and what is being said. But at the same time, you have to understand that these are aberrations. These are not representative of the people of Maldives on the whole. And I think that has to be seen in context. The media has to see that in context. And we also have to make sure that all of our neighbors are comfortable with us, and we continue to work with them on the basis of mutuality of benefit, and where both sides, I think, can gain from that relationship. And that's always been our objective, and will continue to be our objective in the neighborhood. And I have no doubt Maldives will be a country that, despite a certain amount of political statements and sentiments to the contrary, will be continually close to India's main and core concerns.
My final question to you, sir, is about China. The standoff in eastern Ladakh has gone on for 4 years now. We have a large number of troops present on both sides, and the situation is far from normal. Is that now what's going to be the new status quo?
Well, following the incidents of March, April 2020 on the Ladakh border, our response has been very, very firm and resolute. We have made it clear that you cannot have any normal bilateral relationship until these issues are resolved. We have had almost 20, I think, rounds of talks with China at the military and diplomatic level since then. And I think we have made reasonable progress. I think it is wrong to say that the map has been redrawn. I think there is absolutely no loss of any territory under any circumstances in that part of our country. There is a line of actual control, which is based on de facto control. There is some ups and downs in that line, but everybody is not standing on that line. That line is a notional line, and you have a situation where you are trying to bring about a certain, conflict resolution and a mechanism whereby friction and conflict in the future does not take place. I think as far as the relationship is concerned, we need to continue to make sure that all our interests are taken into account before we can look at any sense of normalcy. You mentioned a large deployment of troops by China. I think the mobilization of troops in very large numbers on the border itself is a transgression of our bilateral agreements of 93 and 96. And from that point of view, I think until and unless there is both disengagement and de-escalation, the situation will continue to be a little fraught. And we have to, of course, both sides have to work to try and ensure that there are diplomatic solutions and that there is a certain resolution mechanism that works to bring that normalcy that we're looking for back into the relationship. But the important thing is that the government has been very, very firm. There is absolutely no question of allowing any country to take advantage of our territorial sovereignty and integrity. I think that is out of the question.
Thank you so much, Harsh Shringla, for joining us with your views here. And we appreciate you taking out your time. Well, that's it, viewers, for me on the Urban Debate. On the other side is The Nation Tonight at 9 with my colleague Shreya. Stay tuned to Mirror now.